A new archaeological revelation. An ancient Viking runestone, like a stele, like a column, as you can see here, warns of an ominous climate catastrophe. We don't have too much information about Viking archaeology, except for perhaps Thor's hammer, but an ancient Viking slab speaks of an impending climate catastrophe, and it states of the fact that there would be a battle between warm and cold and life and death. This is by Sean Martin, Express UK. It's called the Rockstone, R-O-K. It's a Viking rune stone. It's like a column, a stele, you know, like in the ancient world where they would write everything important on stone and have them in columns so that they would stand for the majority of time as much as possible. Now this Viking runestone, erected in the 9th century in Sweden, it proved that climate concern was not for the people of the 20th, 21st century. It was a concern to them from way back then in the 9th century. Researchers attempted to translate the 700 runes covering the slab, and now they believe they have the answer. These experts are from 3 universities in Sweden, and they believe that the slab was erected as a memorial to a man's deceased son. It talks about previous major cold snaps and how the person who wrote it is concerned about future climate change. In the 6th century, global temperatures plummeted. As we know, we had various eruptions that caused famines as well. Now, 6th century, but previous research suggesting that this was a result of volcanic activity that took place around the planet. The volcanic activity affected the climate worldwide, let me put it that way. And as you can imagine, plummeting temperatures and famine are the result. At the same time, it's believed a major solar storm happened, creating long-lasting auroras in the upper northern hemisphere. Colder than usual temperatures, strange colors in the skies led this person to write the runes that another climate catastrophe was on its way. Now, the experts wrote in their study from this runestone, the inscriptions deal with the anxiety triggered by a son's death and the fear of a new climate crisis similar to what took place in the catastrophe of 536 AD. There are passages on this slab that refer to battles which lasted for hundreds of years. Scientists, however, believe that this could have been a metaphor for the climate. I wouldn't say so, because we've had past climate changes due to volcanic eruptions. For example, it took place in ancient Egypt, and there they had social unrest and conflicts because of that. They were fighting over clean water, they were fighting over produce and animals, because there was famine worldwide, famine over the area of Egypt. Now, so it's not illogical to think that they were literally fighting for whatever they could get. Scientists said that the conflict between light and darkness, warmth and cold, life and death. Bo Graslund is the professor in archaeology in Uppsala University, and he says, before the rock runestone was erected, a number of events occurred which must have seemed extremely ominous. A powerful solar storm colored the sky in dramatic shades of red. Crop yields suffered from an extremely cold summer, and later a solar eclipse occurred just after sunrise. Even one of these events would have been enough to raise fears of another Fumble winter. Now, Olof Sundqvist, professor of history of religions in Stockholm University, said the powerful elite of the Viking Age saw themselves as guarantors for good harvests. They were the leaders of the cult that held together the fragile balance between light and darkness. And finally, the Ragnarok. They would fight alongside Odin in the final battle of the light. The deciphering of the stone because of the collaboration between three universities of Sweden, University of Gothenburg, Uppsala, and Stockholm University. They took part in deciphering this. Experts called on scientists of various different backgrounds, also those who studied history, archaeology, and religion. Peter Holmberg, professor of Swedish at the University of Gothenburg, led the study, and he says that the key to unlocking the inscription was the interdisciplinary approach. Without these collaborations between textual analysis, archaeology, history of religions, and runology, it would have been impossible to solve the riddles of this the rock rune stone. Now, look at this. It's all more power to them. I've never seen writing like this. Very strange. Very strange. Okay, so that was it. They believe it has to do with climate change. So tell me what you think. I believe that if you had volcanic eruption, the ash clouds causing a tremendous change in the climate, and remember that they had in the past the summer without a harvest, that is devastating for people that had no refrigeration. Of course, their animals couldn't eat, they couldn't eat, and obviously there would be strife and social strife and upheaval. It may not have just been climate change. Well, obviously it was a... Okay, so tell me what you think. This is something new to us. This runestone calling of awareness towards climate change. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.